I've been in a situation with this for a while, and I have trouble. They've tried to stop me from making and finishing my album. I used to write rock music, and when I got to a point to where I had my album almost entirely finished, I had an album that was going to sell like platinum. I was going to make about $12 million initially off of it, and they stopped me so that I couldn't leave my house. And they've had me locked up in my house for a while. So I decided I have a one-touch Casio keyboard, and I was able to write this rap song because I don't have to sing. I can just rap, right? It's like speaking. So I ended up getting a song done, and that was the first song I've gotten done in a long time that had lyrics to it, because what they do is they run microwave radiation through your throat. They try to stop you from being able to do a lot of things. It's interesting that they don't want me to get out. The thing is, that video I sent you about the codec model, that is another thing that I would like to air sometime. If there's any way you could work that into the show, because that's...
Yes. So what you're saying, mate, is that the establishment are blocking you all the way from getting your lyrics out, your songs out, are they?
That's correct. There seems to be some sort of involvement that is not human, too. I don't necessarily know exactly what that's all about, but I've done some research on that and found some really interesting things out. I don't know if you've seen the well, I guess it's not declassified, but the Apollo language. Yeah. The moon footage. Yes, I have a copy of that. I have so much stuff on this now because this happened back in 2000. It started, and here we are, 2008, 8 years later. I still have not left a room by myself. And in the town I lived in, I have been seen less than 2% of the last 8 years. Like 98% of the time, I have been alone in a room by myself for the last 8 years.
Right.
Because I did a lot with the math and so on and so forth. There's a lot of what seems to be not human doesn't want people to know about this. They did not have this model of physics. They've had the incorrect model of physics for 4,000 years. They've had that.
Right. So you say not human. So are we talking sort of alien here, or another dimensional thing?
Well, actually, when I went into researching it, there's one hostile race that would be most likely to be doing it, and that would be the Greys. Right. I don't know what their actual name sounds something like the word noodle. I mean, it's not noodle, but it has like this oodle kind of sound to it. What they call their own race. They don't call themselves Greys, of course.
Right.
But I put up with them like all day long. I don't know if you've ever heard from anybody that's been in a situation like that, because I know it's like a really, really hard thing to believe, and very few people I've ever talked to have even really believed me. But yes, they do. They have machines, and they can put pain in your body. I've got tumors popping out of my skin all over my body. And if you go to the nationalcaresociety.org, there's pictures on the National Care Society. There's a picture of a guy's leg that's got tumors coming out of it. I have those all over my body. I have like over 50 of them embedded underneath my skin.
Yeah. Edge correspondent Gina Romano talks to a lot of people like that. I mean, you can contact her at any time. Her bio's on the Edge website. So, are you an activist then? I'm just trying to work out, mate, why the establishment or whatever is trying to get at you. Have you done any sort of human rights, environmental activism, or anti-government activism in the past? And have you wound anybody up, you know?
I've actually made breakthroughs in cases against certain government corruption. Like 2 or 3 times now, I've spotted things that the CIA didn't even have.
Right.
And I've sent it to them. And if you go to youtube.com/terrorwheel, if you go to my YouTube site, there's a video there that says ciphered message by the president. I actually deciphered. He went on national television March 29th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which was 664 days before his presidency was up. And in this speech, he actually ciphered a message that could be interpreted by people in other nations, you know, because he doesn't have direct contact with Vladimir Putin and a lot of the other people that he's working with.
Yeah.
He's being watched or whatever. So if you go in and you see that video, you'll see what I mean. They ask him about the number 322 in an interview, and his face pretty much falls off the front of his head. And then they ask John Kerry about 322, same thing. He says, well, I know a lot of secrets.
What is 322?
And then 322?
Yeah.
I think it's some sort of militant number. I'm not sure. I think it's some sort of number of a type of rank, or not a rank, but a group of people, militant. But I'm not sure about that. I do know that the Skull and Bones, the Totenkampf, was a Nazi fraternity that was extended only to Nazis. It was exclusive.
Yeah.
So.
So your songs then are all orientated towards this, your artwork then, your art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The situation I'm in right now, I have been locked up for like 8 years.
Yeah.
With like a pen, a piece of paper, and the internet. And so when I went at math, I discovered a lot of things that they're talking about in math aren't true. For example, the idea of the graviton. It's a particle view of gravity. If we actually falsely write a graviton into our physical knowledge, what we'll end up doing is we'll end up going down the wrong path in physics for like another 20, 30 years before they find out that they're wrong.
Right.
And I've deduced gravity to be nothing more than decompressed space fabric. It definitely is not a particle. No. So when I sat down with a piece of paper and a pen in this room, I went through and found so many different inaccuracies in what people are saying and doing that it's just, you get down to religion's false, the government's false, just about everything a person would base their most important life decisions on in this world is false.
Yeah.
And then you get to like 90% of the establishments are doing the exact opposite of what they claim to do. Schools actually put children in a situation to when they graduate, they don't want to learn anything else. They never want to know anything. They want to be left alone. Yeah. And just about every institution on this earth that you could think of is not just a little off, but almost the exact opposite of what it's supposed to be. And to me, I look at that as that can't be entirely human intervention, that every single system is like that.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, mate. It's as though that the powers that be, the establishment, have this set way society should act and react to situations, and it's embedded into everyday life, and all the teachings in school and everything we've been taught is all geared towards that, the way they want us to be. I mean, it's just their information spoon-fed to us. They only tell us what they want us to know. And if there is a truth out there, it's so shrouded in all this misinformation, it's very, very difficult to get to. And if one day somebody really finds this little nugget of truth, nobody's going to believe it, and you probably won't even recognize it yourself, because we've been so brainwashed throughout for the years because of religion, because of science.
I had one other thing I wanted to say. Something that's really interesting about the math I'm doing suggests that perception is not something that the body is actually doing. Now, when you get down to the idea of a God, though, the math disproves God altogether. It basically states that nobody could be the creator of all things, being a part of all things themselves. It does technically disprove the existence of a creator. However, when they went into the study of the human body in quantum mechanics, they never actually found a place in the body that was the point of perception. I mean, they studied every molecular machine, every electrical activity and response to electrical activity, and so on and so forth, and what they were incapable of determining was that the body even perceived it all. In this math that I have done, what it says is that in the beginning of this universe there was a force material conversion, and then tears were spread out symmetrically in the fabric. They then gathered to a central point, and then there was an explosion that we would refer to as the Big Bang. However, the tears should have spread out symmetrically, and there is a finite amount of tears in our universe. This universe has about 100 billion galaxies worth of tears. This should not be the case out of a force material conversion. There should be more than that. What I'm suggesting is that there are many dimensions that exist, each holding a finite amount of tears, about 100 billion galaxies worth, due to symmetry. And I believe that there is another fabric with tears in it that perceives, and it sinks into the human body because of complex mechanical constituency of the body that it would actually perceive. It's not actually the body that's perceiving, so there actually may be a life after a death. However, the math does suggest that there would be no possibility of a creator of everything.